Vampire Academy, Chapter 1, Part 2, Page 6. Author Rochelle Mead. He smiled, and I shivered. I had a high resistance to compulsion, but I could feel its effects when it was directed at another person. That, and I'd been taught my entire life that using it was wrong. Reaching into his pocket, Jeremy handed over a set of keys hanging on a large red keychain. "Okay, thank you," said Lissa. "Where is it parked?" "Down the street," he said dreamily. "At the corner by the Brown. 4 blocks away." "Thank you," she repeated, backing up. "As soon as we leave, I want you to go back to studying. Forget you ever saw us tonight." He nodded obediently. I got the impression he would have walked off a cliff for her right then if she asked. All humans were susceptible to compulsion, but Jeremy appeared weaker than most. That came in handy right now. "Come on," I told her. "We got to move." We stepped outside, heading toward the corner he named. I was still dizzy from the bite and kept stumbling, unable to move as quickly as I wanted. Lissa had to catch a hold of me a few times to stop me from falling. All the time the anxiety rushed into me from her mind. I tried my best to ignore it. I had my own fears to deal with. "Rose, what are we going to do if they catch us?" she whispered. "They won't," I said fiercely. "I won't let them." "But if they found us before. They didn't catch us then. We'll just drive over to the train station and go to LA. They'll lose the trail." I made it sound simple. I always did, even though there was nothing simple about being on the run from people we'd grown up with. We've been doing it for 2 years, hiding wherever we could and just trying to finish high school. Our senior year had just started, and living on the college campus had seemed safe. We were so close to freedom. She said nothing more, and I felt her faith in me surge up once more. This was the way it had always been between us. I was the one who took action, who made sure things happened, sometimes recklessly so. She was a more reasonable one, the one who thought things out and researched them extensively before acting. Both styles had their uses, but at the moment recklessness was called for. We didn't have time to hesitate. Lissa and I had been best friends ever since kindergarten, when our teacher had paired us together for writing lessons. Forcing 5-year-olds to spell the list of Dragamore and Rosamere Hathaway was beyond cruel, and we'd, or rather I'd, responded appropriately. I chucked my book at our teacher and called her a facious beep. I hadn't known what those words meant, but I'd known how to hit a moving target. Lissa and I have been inseparable ever since. Do you hear that?" she asked suddenly. It took me a few seconds to pick up on her sharper senses already had. Footsteps moving fast, I grimaced. "We had 2 more blocks to go." "We gotta run for it," I said, catching hold of her arm. "But you can't run!" It took every ounce of my willpower not to pass out on the sidewalk. My body didn't want to run after losing blood, or while still metabolizing the effects of her saliva. But I ordered my muscles to stop their beep and clung to Lissa as our feet pounded against the concrete. Normally I could have outrun her without any extra effort, particularly since she was barefoot. But tonight she was all that held me upright. The pursuing footsteps grew louder, closer. Black stars danced before my eyes. Ahead of us, I could just make out Jeremy's green Honda. Oh God, if we could just make it. 10 feet from the car, a man stepped directly into our path. We came to a screeching halt, and I jerked Lissa back by her arm. It was him, the guy I'd seen across the street watching me. He was older than us, maybe mid-20s, and as tall as I figured, probably 6'6" or 6'7", and under different circumstances, say when he wasn't holding up our desperate escape, I would have thought he was hot. Shoulder-length brown hair tied back in a short ponytail, dark brown eyes, a long brown coat, a duster, I thought it was called. But his hotness was irrelevant now. He was only an obstacle keeping Lissa and me away from the car and our freedom. The footsteps behind us slowed, and I knew our pursuers had caught up. Off to the side, I detected more movement, more people closing in. God, they sent almost a dozen guardians to retrieve us. I couldn't believe it. The Queen herself didn't travel with this many. Panicked and not entirely in control of my higher reasoning, I acted out of instinct. I pressed up to Lissa, keeping her behind me and away from the man who appeared to be the leader. "Leave her alone," I growled. "Don't touch her." His face unreadable, but he held out his hands in what was apparently supposed to be some sort of calming gesture. Like I was a rabid animal he was planning to sedate. "I'm not going to—" He took a step forward, too close. I attacked him, leaping out in an offense maneuver I hadn't used in 2 years. Not since Lissa and I had run away. The move was stupid, another reaction born of instinct and fear, and it was hopeless. He had the skilled guardian, not a novice who just hadn't finished his training. He also wasn't weak, on the verge of passing out. A man. He was fast. I had forgotten how fast guardians could be. They could move and strike like cobras. He knocked me off, brushing away like a fly, and his hand slammed into me and sent me backwards. I didn't think he meant to strike that hard, probably just intended to keep me away, but my lack of coordination interfered with my ability to respond. Unable to catch my footing, I started to fall, heading straight toward the sidewalk. A twisted ankle hit first. It was going to hurt a lot. Only it didn't. Just as quick as he blocked me, the man reached down and caught my arm, keeping me upright. When I steadied myself, I noticed he was staring at me, or more precisely, at my neck. Still disoriented, I didn't get right away. Then, slowly, my free hand reached up to my side of my throat and lightly touched the wound Lissa had made earlier. When I pulled my fingers back, I saw a slick of dark blood on my skin. Embarrassed, I shook my hair, and it fell forward around my face. My hair was thick and long and completely covered my neck. I'd grown out for this precise reason. The guy's dark eyes lingered on my new covered bite a moment longer and then mine. I returned his look definitely and quickly jerked out of his hold. He let me go, though I knew he could have restrained me all night if he wanted to. Fighting and nauseating dizziness, I backed toward Lissa again, bracing myself for another attack. Suddenly her hand caught hold of mine. "Rose," she said quickly, "don't." Her words had no effect on me at first, but calming thoughts gradually began to settle on my mind. Coming across through the bond, it wasn't exactly compulsion. She wouldn't use that on me, but it was effectual, as was the fact that we were hopelessly outnumbered and outclassed. Even I knew struggling would be pointless. The tension left my body, and I sagged in defeat. Sensing my resignation, the man stepped forward, turning his attention to Lissa. His face was calm. He swept her about and managed to look graceful doing it, which surprised me considering his height. "My name is Dmitri Belovic," he said. I could hear a faint Russian accent. "I've come to take you back to St. Valdemore's Academy, Princess."